right, I'm ready.
Yay.
Comes in hot. Oh, you flipped everything already? Wow, okay. Slay, King. All right, are you ready? That mustache is so awful. Welcome into Sports Tonight.
Wow.
I'm Baillie Burmaster alongside Lee Smith
Hello, hello, hello.
for your Tuesday edition. We're going to jump right into it because it's a big night. We have college football rankings tonight, which will give us a very clear picture going into championship weekend, what to expect as far as Georgia. It seems like the case right now is basically if they win, then they're the SEC champs, they get the bye.
Yep.
If they lose, it then becomes where does everyone else fall?
Yep.
And is it possible they're still seated high enough that they get to host? I think that's going to be the case, no matter what, because of the difficulty that is Georgia's schedule.
So that would mean you've got to be 5, 6, 7, or 8,
Correct.
which I think is. Yeah, I think it all depends on where they are tonight when the rankings come
Yep.
out. So if they're
Which
if
we
they
believe
we believe they'll be
they'll come
number
at 5.
If they come in at 5 and they lose a close game to
Mm-hmm.
Texas in the SEC championship, then they probably will go to at least 7, 8, possibly 9, though. So that's where they wouldn't host. So a whole lot of football left.
Yeah.
A whole lot of scenarios left. A whole lot of football left. So
It's crazy that the season's over, basically.
I know.
I
I
feel
feel
like it
like
flew
it.
by, right?
This one flew by. It flew by.
I mean, while we were talking about it, top moment this year so far?
Personally and professionally.
Both.
Personally, I am an Alabama fan. I did like the first half against Georgia.
Okay.
I know a lot of Georgia fans didn't like that. They liked the second half.
'Kay.
But professionally, oh gosh, it would easily be the Texas, UGA
was-
Texas game in the defense. Absolutely stomping Texas.
Yeah.
It was really just Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker and Aguero kind of dominating that game.
I mean,
Yeah.
the defense, Everett had some big plays.
Oh, yeah, and
daily, too.
Everett too. Yeah, yeah.
I'm with you. Texas was a fun trip. I
Yeah,
mean, the hype around
yeah.
that game was insane. We did a really cool Bijan,
Oh,
really
yeah,
cool Bijan
yeah.
piece. And then they ended up getting the win, despite the fact Carson Beck threw for 3 interceptions. You had Trevor Etienne,
Yeah.
who was able to get 3 touchdowns on the ground. Do we want to briefly talk about anything Georgia related, or should we keep pushing it to later in the week to talk about?
We have so much Georgia stuff to talk
We
about
do.
later in the week.
And we're going to do a whole special from the Bens on Friday for Sports Tonight, so you're going to want to tune in for that. Okay, let's talk about Kennesaw State.
Okay.
Roller coaster of a season. They
Yep.
upset Liberty. Brian Bohannon in the
Previously
game.
undefeated Liberty at that point.
Correct. It was a huge upset.
Yep.
They were named like the Cheez-It Team of the Week. And then it wasn't shortly after that you had this whole debacle play out with Brian Bohannon. We'll just
Yeah.
say both mutually agreed to part ways.
Yeah, that was.
Which,
Yeah.
whether you agree with or not, is the situation at hand. But they did introduce new head coach Jerry Mack, the second head coach in program history since the inception in 2015. We'll play the press conference with Jerry talking about just what he's bringing, what he's used to. Has over 20 years coaching experience coming from the Jags. He was the running backs coach, was at the running backs coach for the Vols in Tennessee for a long time. What was your feel around Jerry and just who he was as a person? Because you were there today.
So, obviously, well-spoken dude that I think will be good for the program. I just don't know how good or how fast it can be turned around, just simply because they are a smaller school going up. Well, I mean, at least in football wise, they're new to Conference USA and they're playing with,
It's a new
just
beast.
it's a whole new ball game that they're used to they're used to. So I don't know. I think it'd be good, but I really don't know with like the world of NIL and the portal, like how realistically how fast can you change things. Yeah, because it was pointed out that their facilities haven't been updated since 2013 when they started building everything, because then they had their first year of actual football in 2015. But I don't know. So I think he'll be good. It'll be like a time will tell thing, and like with recruiting, this first signing day is what, tomorrow?
Yeah, it's
That's
a big week
that's a
for
huge
everything.
turnaround. So, or that's a fast turnaround. I mean, I don't really know what he can sign now, but he does have that experience coaching at pretty much every level. He's HBCU, FCS. He was at Tennessee through 21 to 23, so 3 seasons there, and he just was most recently the Jaguars running back coach. So,
Yep.
ton of experience, knows a lot of stuff. Coached under Josh Heupel at Tennessee, so it could bode well for them.
Let's go to his press conference now to hear what he had to say and what the future will look like for the Owls.
What assurances from the administration have you been given as far as an NIL budget and a target date as to when those facilities are going to start being constructed?
So I'll first say, one of the things that attracted me to the job was the alignment. I kind of mentioned in my press conference, just from the president, from the athletic director, those people, when they talked to me about the opportunities for growth, I think that was the biggest thing here at Kennesaw State. When they laid out their vision, really no specific timetable on, when ground is going to be broken on certain things, but I can tell you there is a vision to do some things from a facility standpoint. Obviously, the nature of NIL right now, everybody's kind of still navigating what that kind of looks like from their own institution. I think the resources are in place, here with the donors and with the collective and things like that. I think it's opportunity to continue to grow it. So obviously you want to continue to grow it. Student funds, athletic fees, things like that are always going to be part of those conversations as far as athletic budget. But I do think, when you're talking about 50,000 students plus or whatnot, like there's just no limitations on what we can potentially do. And that's one of the things that really attracted me to the whole opportunity. I do think there are some things that are in place that haven't been unveiled yet. But rest assured, it's coming.
I know it's going to be busy few days for you, not only with signing day, but how are you doing as far as recruiting your own locker room right now? I know that there was a lot of players that had gone into the portal. Have you met with the team, and how is that going?
Yeah, I met with the team. It was the first thing I did when I got on campus last night. So we had about a 9 p.m. just all football staff meeting, met with the staff a little bit, got a chance to meet with players, meet some of the players as well, just kind of outline what I feel like this program and what we need to do going forward. So just have their mind in a different place when they come back after the Christmas break. So, to answer your question, yeah, I've got an opportunity to meet with them. Got an opportunity to watch some film as well. Got a chance to kind of sit down and watch a couple of games and kind of see what some of the deficiencies are with the program and positions of need more than anything else.
Well, since you brought it up, what are those deficiencies and positions of need?
Well, when you have a season like we did, it's everywhere. Like it's not so much that it's just one specific position, it's the inconsistencies across the board at every position. So, when you talk about recruiting and things like that, we're open to everything, every position on the table.
Last thing for me, my publication is hyper-local when it comes to Cobb County and Cherokee County. I know that that is kind of one of the main basis for Kennesaw State recruiting. What, if any, connection do you have to Cobb County specifically and the coaches in this area? Because we play pretty good high school football.
You play great high school football, by the way. But no, every stop that I've been on, even at University of Tennessee, all the way back to my days at South Alabama, I've always recruited really the Atlanta metro area. So just not only the Atlanta area, but also the surrounding areas. Obviously, we got a great staff here at Kennesaw State right now. So those guys will be evaluated. They have some people on board or some lists that they've created, along with I've been and continue to develop lists of some of my former contacts and things like that as places I've been on my journeys.
Hey, I'm Doug Robertson with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Doug.
I have several questions. Just going back to your last answer, do you know how many of the current staff members you hope to keep?
No, we are going to we start talking to some of those young men tomorrow, and we're going to continue those relationships and continue those talks over the next couple of days.
Do you know how much of a budget you have to recruit new coaches, however many that might be?
We're still working through that. Me and Milton are still working through some of that, but it's going to be a competitive salary, for Conference USA.
Okay. What kind of offense and what kind of defense do you hope to run?
Yeah, if you ever had a chance to watch, the University of Tennessee, not saying that we're going to beat Tennessee, but just saying that, we're going to be an up-tempo style. We got to continue to recruit to that style of offense. So, the first years or so, the first year, we got to do what our personnel allows us to do. So, there are things that I would like to do, but it really is all depending on what the personnel allows us to do. Defensively, very similar. We're going to be extremely aggressive on defense, picking our spots, depending on what that personnel looks like.
So is it fair to say the schemes are just going to be based upon, you have hopes for what you're going to do, but it may be based upon personnel?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Going back to the facilities, the first question, you said you couldn't get into some specifics, but were you told there are definitely going to be some improvements, or it's just there are, to quote a politician, concepts of plans of improvement?
No, we have been told. I've seen exactly the vision on what it is. So, we can't say right now, but I think in the next 12 to 16 months, some things are going to be revealed.
Okay. Well, until that happens, why do you think you're going to have more success than the previous coach?
I think that anytime you look at an organization, you got to get in there. You kind of see exactly where some of the deficiencies were. Obviously, from a recruiting standpoint, we got to do a great job of building some depth. And a lot of that comes from obviously building an NIL infrastructure and making sure we do some things from a recruiting standpoint. They did a great job. Coach Bo did a great job of building the foundation at the program. For whatever the reason, the last few years, it has not been at the level that we all, as an Owl family, would like it to be. But I'm just confident in my ability, the staff that I'm gonna bring in, my background as far as being able to build programs, being a part of programs that would be able to be built as well. So I've been on, the person that has done it, and I've been a part of it from the ground floor. So it's really more about a confidence and a belief of what I bring to the table more than anything else.
Can you talk about your experience recruiting Cobb County and Metro Atlanta?
Yeah, just, everywhere I've always been, this is an area that I've always, built relationships, the camps, the clinics, Nike clinics, all kind of things in and out, this area, not only just Cobb County, you talk about the entire state of Georgia, it's great football across the entire state. And then also being able to get those guys that go off to other places, when you talk about the transfer portal, get those guys back home more than anything else. So not only just the relationships you build from the high school guys, sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them, but when they go off, sometimes they really want to come back home.
I was going to ask about that. There's a signing day coming up that is probably too much of a deadline, but how much of your next signing class is going to be, do you think, transfers in, and how much do you want to start to try to build a foundation with freshmen? Yeah,
no doubt. Like, I wish I had a crystal ball to kind of tell you what that number kind of looked like, but that's just not the reality of it. We got to continue to go through the roster, continue to evaluate the people and the men in the building, and then after that, then we kind of assess, what those needs specifically are by position.
And last question for me, we can file an open records request for this, but how long is your contract?
No comment on that.
Okay.
Coach, Kai Millett with the KSU Sentinel. Nice to meet you.
Thanks to meet you.
Coach, kind of excluding what you already said about, the people within the administration as well as the obvious, which is the high school football level in the state of Georgia, what are the biggest draws to Kennesaw State University?
Yeah, first of all, the alignment from the president to the athletic director. I think second of all are the students on campus. When you talk about the student body being close to 50,000 students, that's just an opportunity for growth. There's no limitations on how good we can be when you look at the number of students compared to the rest of the schools in the state, and then even the surrounding states. That's really impressive. And I think the third thing is an opportunity to grow. Like, it's a newcomer to Conference USA, so that means I get a chance to build this thing from the ground up and what our vision looks like.
Coach, you mentioned the students. There have been times where student turnout has been sort of a struggle at these games. How do you improve engagement?
Yeah, I think, I had a brief conversation with our Director of Student Affairs. And, that's up to, me and not only him and, some other partners on campus to just try to engage in making sure that the students are excited about continuing to come to the games. That means me getting out in the community. That means me getting on campus, building relationships. All those things are important to make sure they understand this is our football team. It's not just the athletic department or a Jerry Max program. It's the entire university, it's the entire community's football team, and we want to put a great product out there.
Coach, what do you feel is the biggest challenge you inherit with this program?
I think any program, one of the biggest challenges is making sure you continue to monitor and enhance the roster. With so much roster turnover in college football now, with guys being able to jump in the transfer portal, the men that are in the building, you got to do a great job of developing those guys. You got to do a great job of building those relationships. If you want to do something special, you got to build special relationships. So that's what's going to be really at the forefront of me and my staff.
Coach, last thing from me, you've talked a good bit about the offense. You've got a long track record as both an offensive coordinator and as a position coach. How hands-on can we expect you to be with that unit?
I'm going to be very hands-on with the unit. I'm not going to call the plays per se, but I'll be very instrumental in just making sure it looks like I need it to look like and want it to look like. I've called a lot of plays in my lifetime. I'm really more concerned about I'm doing a great job of managing the game and making sure I put our players in the best situation to be successful.
Coach, right here in the back, Luke Hetrick, WSB, congratulations.
Thank you.
Spent some time with Josh Heupel. What was the biggest thing as a guy from him who was a career assistant for many years and then became a head coach and had wild success? I know you've been a head coach before, but for this last decade, what was the biggest thing that maybe he taught you during your time at Tennessee about getting that next head coaching opportunity?
Man, just very complimentary with Coach Heupel and giving me the opportunity to sit in that building and sit in those meetings and learn a lot. I think one of the biggest things, like I said, one thing is Coach is an offensive genius. He's been very successful as a coordinator and as a player also, and just being able to bounce ideas off him. I was a sponge in that building trying to learn everything that I could from him. I think the second thing is just how he dealt with people. I thought Coach Heupel did a great job of managing the staff. When we walked into that program at university, the football was under a lot of turmoil. So they really cleaned house, not only from administration but football as well. So everybody in that building that I walked into in 2021, we were pretty much all new to the University of Tennessee in the program, and you see what they've been able to do now. After in the fourth year go to the college football playoffs, and in our second year we were able to win the Orange Bowl. So there's some things about Josh Heupel and the way he went about his business, is dealing with people offensively, things like that I took from that program, and it's going to serve as a great blueprint for some of the things that we're going to do.
Anything else in the back?
All right, so we will see how the Owls fare. Switching gears to a different bird, Falcons.
Hootie hoo to a caca?
Falcons call?
No. Sorry, that was the Hawks. Sorry, I got my birds confused for a second. We got so many stinking birds in this town.
We got lots of birds. But I went on my full rant yesterday.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
You weren't here.
Okay.
Aaron was here. I went on the full rant about why they shouldn't go to Penix yet. What are your feelings? You were there at the game on
Let's
Sunday.
go Penix.
You want to?
Let's go Penix.
Really?
Might as well. Just throw them out there.
You just want chaos.
I do want chaos, but oh my gosh, come on now.
There's been. Here's
Now it could go from terrible to absolutely the rock bottom worst.
This is my biggest gripe right now, and this is, I'm just gonna say talking media heads, as we are talking media heads right now, but on national platforms, who were critical of the Penix draft pick.
Yeah.
Said it was the dumbest thing. It made no sense. All this stuff, and now they're saying play Penix.
Now we might have to.
What if they didn't have Penix? It would be Taylor Heineke probably still.
No. It would stay with Kirk for the entirety of the season, and there's no 1B.
And that is what they should
That's
do,
it.
despite the fact having Penix.
Would not be a choice.
So anyway, everyone's had an opinion. Good Morning Football, you can watch on Peachtree Sports Network, their streaming show, and Jamie Erdahl. I always mess up her name. I'm sorry. Jamie had her hot take about the Falcons and what they should do to Cousins. Let's listen in.
So far out on this. Keep the secret in the cupboard with Michael Penix Jr. Listen, I'm out on teams in general that are going to do nothing with any sort of magic that they have in December if they qualify for the playoffs. This Falcons team right now is leading the division. I don't want to see this Falcons team in the playoffs. They're not going to hold a candle to anybody. They're not going to fight anybody. And I know their social team is like, just keep going so we can clip this off so when we beat somebody in January, we can use it. I got you, Falcons. I'll hook you up, all right? But today, after Week 13, I want to see a Buccaneers team who's showing some life, who's got Mike Evans back, who's got a snazzy Baker Mayfield playing quarterback, all right? I want to see that Bucs team coming out of this division. This version of the Falcons, it's not fun to watch. This version of this quarterback is not fun to watch. But just that being said, I don't think that means that we should just throw Michael Penix Jr. out there, because I don't think this is just a quarterback issue. I think this is just a greater issue with the Falcons moving forward. Just save him, okay? So if he was so great in preseason, he'll be great in preseason for you next year. And maybe you can just defiantly beat down your division and be the Falcons that you wanted to be.
I am sure that the social media team is going to clip that and use it as motivation for them.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard because at this point in the Falcons' schedule, you originally you thought it was going to be the easy part of their schedule. It's no longer the easy part. Vikings are very good. Sam Darnold leading the way. That is where Kirk Cousins played, so it's going to be a hot matchup this week. You also still have the Giants. They're pretty bad, so that should be a dub, and that's at home. But
Good luck with going to the Commanders.
Cliff Kingsbury, Jaden Daniels,
Good luck.
figuring it out. That was supposed to be an easy one. It is no longer an easy one. No. It is certainly no longer an easy one. So we'll see how they fare. We will be in Flowery Branch tomorrow. All the talk, we know what it's going to be about. It's going to be about Kirk Cousins. It's going to be about the offense. It's going to be about his interceptions. And it's going to be about returning home to Minnesota, where he spent a lot of his career and found a lot of success. But as of recently with the Falcons, it's been a doozy the last 3 weeks. Do you think he turns it around?
No.
I think it's a better performance than what we saw.
Well, it can't be worse than what we just got.
No.
There's no way.
I
There's no way.
Here's the better question. Do you think he finally tosses a touchdown pass? I'll go yes.
Yes.
4 weeks just seems like
Yeah.
it's not possible.
Now, if it was an
Maybe it
outdoor
was.
game and it was snowing, no.
Hot take, U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota, one of the best stadiums in the NFL, personal opinion. I've been to a lot of them.
I don't know if that's really a hot take. I mean,
I feel like there's a lot of people who haven't been there.
I mean,
so
I
they don't
haven't.
know.
I haven't, but I'm going to err on the side of, yes, new dome stadiums are probably better than a lot of the older outdoor stadiums
Also
that have
has
been
an
renovated
open
forever.
air press box that's really
That's
more
cool.
ingrained within the fans.
Yeah.
So that's
No,
fun.
I like that.
I covered a Christmas Eve Packers-Vikings game there, and they had a s'mores bar. I'll never forget it.
Big fan of the s'mores bar.
Big fan.
Hey, Mercedes-Benz has
big
got
fan.
their top-notch food options, too.
Bananas Foster, bring it back. Bring it back. I need to see it this Saturday at
know.
the SEC Championship.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah,
with that.
I know. Okay, let's keep it pushing. The Hawks, winners of 4 straight, beat the Pelicans last night. DeJounte Murray didn't do a whole lot in that game. They started off
Because Dyson Daniels.
They started off pretty slow and were shooting pretty poorly. The Hawks
Yep.
were from 3, but were able to figure it out. DeAndre Hunter in the last 4 games, he has had 18 or more points
Turned it
in
on.
those 4 games.
He turned it on.
He's figured it out.
Out of nowhere.
Zachary Reese-Shay's length has been brutal defensively and really helped them. Trey kind of had an off night last night, but I mean, he also has had some crazy games as of late. The league also announcing that Dyson Daniels was Defensive Player of the Month for the Eastern Conference.
Well, there you go.
First time the NBA has awarded Defensive Player of the Month, and the league picked a winner in the East. In the West, Victor Wembanyama got the West, Daniels for the East. He's been elite defensively in the 19 games. He had 57 steals and 18 blocks.
Good Lord.
He is the first player since 1988, since Michael Jordan, to get 57 steals and 18 blocks in the first 19 games of the season.
That's crazy.
Very crazy. So,
57 steals in 19 games.
and as you know, as we get into this season, you see a lot more reports, and everyone's saying now that this is the reason the Hawks wanted Dyson Daniels. They were not going to ship DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans if they were not going to get Dyson Daniels in that deal.
Crazy.
And I'm going to guess that's some Quinn Snyder. knowing what he wants, know what he needs for this team
Yeah.
defensively.
Well, they've had terrible defense for a long time.
They
so,
have.
Yeah.
They have, but they've really
God,
turned
I
it
wonder
on.
what the all-time like season average on steals is.
We'll have to look that up.
That's
While we look
crazy.
that up, here's Quinn Snyder post-game last night talking about their win over the Pelicans.
You still lead all the time, Lauren. You got nothing to ask. You want okay?
Quinn, your defense was seemingly consistent and good all night long. What did you see on that end of the floor?
I think there's times when we have 3 guys focused or 4 guys focused, and we're getting, 5 guys connected. So we've seen more multiple effort plays. Our offense has to help our defense, whether it be turnovers or second chance points, which was a problem tonight. But I guess it's good that we get the first stop before we don't get the rebound and they hit the 3. But I think we're not giving up as many easy baskets.
Coach, what does this say about this team and the way they're playing right now, where Trae Young can be 5 for 16 with 12 points and you still win a game by 12?
Yeah, I think the thing about that is Trae Young can be 5 for 16. I think other than a few turnovers early, play a really good game because I thought he was getting good shots. So he'll make those. And I think it does say something good about the group, about him kind of playing through that and, being able to impact the game in other ways. And collectively our team, because we had a lot of guys that didn't shoot well. And playing through that, that's something we've talked about. When we're missing shots, does that, it's hard. And there's a natural tendency to kind of, be frustrated with that. But overcoming that is important. I felt like we did that to most of the part tonight.
Coach, I know we check in on Zach a lot. I know one of the goals was for him to be stronger, and tonight he had a couple moves where he finished at the rim and he looked pretty strong, just developmentally, just checking in on his progress and what you see.
Yeah, I think one of the keys for him is to make a quick decision. So that the plays you're referring to, I think he's playing downhill, where he's, it matters less that you're 19 and weigh a little less than the guy guarding you if you're the one that's initiating contact. And then he can play off that contact, and he's got such a nice touch around the rim that when he takes contact and keeps his balance, those are shots he can make. So, I got on he and Dyson early in the game because I didn't think they were running hard enough. They were running but not sprinting, and that's a key thing for those 2 guys to get ahead of the ball and have the ability to make plays when we throw ahead. And tonight, Zach made some great reads and attacked the rim.
I think attitude-wise, he was also getting some color, going back and forth.
Yeah, I think pretty consistently top of his defense has been really good. He's able, we've seen him move his feet, but he's getting some matchups that you wouldn't think. He would take C.J. McCollum, for example, and then he's matching up with a lot of different types of players. And he's done a really good job of staying in front and, being on balance. And then, then his height comes into play. So it's good to see.
Coach, kind of bouncing off of that question.
All right, dip out of that early so we can get to what's on our mind. Do you want to go first?
Okay. Now, no one's going to like this.
Okay.
Totally understand. Everybody hates them. We're the villains. I get it. But tonight, Alabama's going to sneak into the top 12 of the playoff.
I think they'll come in at 11 or 12. I do.
And I think they might actually make it after next week. I think they might be in the top 12.
It's going to be close.
But they're going to be number 12 if they get it.
What I want to get off my chest, did you watch any football on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
What in the actual HEL double hockey sticks? HE double hockey sticks. I put an extra L in there.
HEL double hockey sticks.
Were the Bears doing?
Okay, so
Eberflus, he deserved to be fired.
I will tell you what the Bears were doing. They were trying to get rid of their coach, and they succeeded. Because that's the only way that you could possibly
So-
make your team look worse than whatever else that had came before last Thursday.
I get Caleb was trying to get said, and they were trying to give him time, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
At some point, you have to control the game, and that is when you use the timeout.
How do you
calling
not
the timeout is
How do you not use the timeout?
flabbergasted.
How do you not use the
But
timeout?
then, you know what was even more interesting after that? It was interesting that it came out that Caleb said he changed the call at the line. And everyone was kind of like, whoa. But apparently he did that a lot at USC, and it got him in a lot of trouble at USC. So, just interesting things there. Anyway, poor management.
Well, yeah, he got him fired. So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I haven't been able to talk about that, so I wanted to get that off my chest.
It was
But
bad. It was egregious.
that does it for this edition of Sports Tonight. Make sure to join us throughout the week. We will certainly talk about Georgia and Texas and the rematch going into the SEC Championship. But for Lee Smith, I'm Bailey Burmaster. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.